Hi, Satira viewers of Equinoxe Television. It's time for the news, and we thank you so much for joining us. Our major stories tonight: there has been a resurgence of violence in schools across the national territory, raising a campaign has been launched in the economic capital Douala to dissuade students from violent practices in the school milieu. And still in this newscast, we will be taking you to Bangem in the Kupe-Maningumba division of the Southwest region, where the government bilingual high school in that part of the country is said to be in very dilapidated state. Those stories and more would be yours in this newscast, so stay with us. Welcome back, viewers. We begin this edition of the news with this element. There has been a resurgence of violence in schools across the national territory, raising a campaign. Such a decision campaign has been launched by local authorities in the littoral region to fight against violence in the school milieu. Today, it took place at the government bilingual school at Aquano in the Douala 5 municipality, and the Director General of the National Civic Service Agency for Participation in Development, Tuasing, it was one of the speakers in that event. He now tells us more about the measures put in place by the local authorities to stop violence within the school milieu.
It's possible, but what I would like to say is that we have to fight against violence and drug consumption in school milieu, and to promote the slogan of the Minister of Secondary School that say clean school in our country. Clean school means that the teachers will have a good behavior, children or students will have good behavior, authority academic of school will have good behavior, and the environment of school will be clean too. So we have to fight against any form of violence in school in order to make our school this peaceful environment that guarantee a peaceful citizen for a peaceful country.
And now we take you to Bafia in the central region of the country, where the local inhabitants of Nguru and Duk in the Mbam and Inubu division are suffering from very poor road networks. Our reporter Smart Njikan Gabriel in the report which comes up next tells us that they find it very difficult transporting their goods from the farm to the market. His report.
The inhabitants of Sekos, Ngoro and Duke in the Mbam and Nubu division of the central region are mainly farmers. Unfortunately, their hard work ends in the village because of the poor road network. We are working but unable to transport our foodstuffs because we lack roads and no means for cars to enter. It's almost 3 days that we are stranded on this stretch of road, which is less than 500 meters. The road, which is in a very horrible state, gives fright to even expectant mothers who are now unable to go for their antenatal checks in the hospital. Look at me, a pregnant woman, but just because of the state of the road, I can't do my daily antenatal checks, because when one even thinks about the road, it's miscarriage. Apart from the horrible state of the road in Chekos, Ngoro and Duke, some other social amenities are lacking in these villages of Mbam and Nubu division. We have many problems, ranging from poor roads to the lack of electricity supply, causing our children not to study at night since we don't even have lanterns. The inhabitants of Chekos, Ngoro and Duke are now expecting that something good will come from the government in power.
And now we take you to the northern part of the country in Toboro, where the local population are begging the authorities to put an end to hostage taking or kidnapping in that part of the country. In the report which comes up next, as staffman Innocent Azer recounts the ordeal of some of the victims.
Kidnapping and ransom demand has become a lucrative business to hostage takers in Toboro, Mayore division of the North region, neighboring Chad and the Central African Republic. On the 13th of August, kidnappers entered my house at night and ordered me to lay on the floor. They flogged me and took 665,000 francs CFA that night before taking me to the bush. I spent 9 days with them, receiving death threats if I didn't pay a ransom. I was compelled to pay a sum of 4 million francs CFA as ransom before I was freed. Villages like Gazawa, Mayombi and Matamada are tossed the most. Altogether, over 60 cases of kidnapping and about 10 deaths have been recorded within 3 months. Millions of francs CFA have been paid as ransom, according to the mayor of Toboro, Yandar Celestin.
Le 30 septembre dernier, un fils de ce village a été assassiné.
We can't give an exact evaluation of the sums paid as ransom, but it varies in tens of millions.
En des dizaines de millions. On ne peut pas évaluer.
Hostages are not only fetched from their homes, but from their farms as well. According to this hospitalized victim, he was in the farm with his wife when the kidnappers surprised them from behind. He was taken to a bush about 10 kilometers from his farm and gotten well beaten for lying he didn't have money at home. They took him again somewhere about 40 kilometers in the rain, where he was flogged again by 4 kidnappers who told him to give them 10 million francs. He still was adamant he was poor and has never been in possession of 10 million. They beat him for a week before letting him go.
Vraiment, je suis un cultivateur, ils disent que je mens. On m'a tapé jusqu'à presque une semaine.
Mayor Yandar Celestin expresses worry that no legal actions are taken by authorities, leaving the population as sources of revenue to the hostage takers.
Aujourd'hui, nous ne faisons pas de procès à notre administration. On se sent un tout petit peu oublié.
The municipal authority implores government authorities as well as security officials to think of the abandoned population of Toboro by assisting to eradicate this phenomenon on the rise in Toboro.
And now from the Mayore, we take you to the southwest region of the country, precisely to the Kupe Maninguba division. The government's technical bilingual school in Bangam is said to be in very dilapidated state. The school has just 6 classrooms to host over 300 students, and our reporter Mala Glory tells us that it is a big challenge to both the learners and also the teachers. Her report.
Just 6 classrooms available to accommodate over 325 students, dilapidated buildings and limited equipment. We are at the Government Technical High School in Bangam, Kupe Manengoba division of the southwest region of Cameroon. The limited materials, according to the students, affect their learning process.
We don't have good benches. The floors, some of the floors are even cracked. And we have lack of equipment. Some of the equipment is in our labs. We don't have computers. We don't have machines.
Existing since 1972 as SAR SM of Mbangem and later transformed to a technical high school in 2004, the school building has worn out and a great challenge to both learners and the school administration.
These 6 classrooms, we have divided some into 2. And we still face difficulties, especially when we go to subjects of specialty, where you cannot mix students of the building construction department with those of the electrical department. You cannot mix students in the accounting department with those in the secretarial administration. For the building construction department, they do their practicals outside. they cannot do practical, so we send them at the veranda. It is a deplorable situation.
The school authority therefore look forward to the construction of a new building as they call on government assistance.
We stay in the southwest region. From the Kupe Maninguba, we take you to the Fako division in Limbe, where business persons who have their businesses located around the Atlantic Ocean have been told to quit the area or have their business places destroyed without any compensation. In the report which comes up next, our reporter in Limbe, David Maimo, tells us that those business persons are now furious and stranded.
Owners of private properties and businesses located within 50 meters from the seashore in Limbe have been asked to start thinking on relocating, as their businesses and structures might be destroyed by the state without any compensation in the days ahead.
On appelle ça domaine public, ça veut dire même l'État ne peut pas s'approprier. C'est le technicien qui m'ont dit, je crois, c'est pas combien de mètres et tout. Donc ceux qui sont dans cette zone, ça ne les concerne pas.
The director of the Limbe Port Authority, Oben Eta, appealed with the population to collaborate for an effective evaluation. He says the state of Cameroon shall compensate all privately owned properties destroyed and land that shall be confiscated.
They shall be compensated, paid full indemnities for the zones that they will need to actually construct the Limbe Port terminals on.
However, he warned, there shall be no room for corruption.
There will be no room for corruption, actually. The National Port Authority would make sure that they stay at the brim of the port activity and ensure perfect transparency in evaluations and negotiations.
The Limbe Deep Sea Port, experts say, shall change the face of not just Limbe, but the entire region and Cameroon at large.
Most of the companies would like to come nearer, we create jobs. That's employment when I talk about employment. So really, it will really go a lot to develop Limbe in particular and Southwest as a whole.
Tiko Port, Down Beach Limbe, Bota Port, Ngeme, Sonara, Esongo, Idinawaf, among others, are the port terminal point earmark, with either Ngeme or Esongo to serve as a main port site.
Well, we stay in Limbe, where chiefs of the Fako division have decried the haphazard sale of land in the Fako division recently. They have expressed worries that if the situation continues as such, there would be no land left for the coming generation. Once again, David Maimo is on that beat.
The wanton sale of state or community land in Fako division of the Southwest region is said to be exacerbated by some top local government officials working in complicity with some chiefs and unscrupulous individuals. Chief Epupa Samuel Ekum, one of the oldest and long-serving chiefs in Fako, says,
when you go to the Ministry of Territorial Administration in Yaoundé, you find that most of the administrators who come to Fako, they go there and lobby for transfer to come to the Southwest, especially Fako, and they come here for two things: chieftaincy and land issues, to enrich themselves very fast. When an administrator is transferred to Fako, he celebrates. He knows that within the first 2 years or 3, he must have built a house for himself.
He feared not a single square meter of land shall be left for the next generation of indigenous Fako children.
The Bakori chiefs who are now gambling with the lands of Bakori in Fako should be very careful, because they are building a bad heritage for their own children, for their posterity. And when they start crying, when we are there buried, shall we sleep well in our graves? The answer will be no.
The no-nonsense chief says it is shameful some administrators are involved.
The administrators are very clever, and when they do this, they ask the chiefs who are not knowledgeable enough to sell the land, and they give them the money, and then the rest of the land is left back for the so-called chief and his hand-picked kingmakers, and they too sell.
He called on administrators sent to Fako division, chiefs and senior elite with dubious character to hands off Fako land,
praying them in the name of God Almighty to spare Fako lands for the benefit of the posterity of Fako who are yet unborn, so that when we die, they will have land to have as their own land.
Critics say the indiscriminate distribution of land to communities in Fako division is one of the main reasons behind the ongoing Cold War on the creation of new villages and chieftaincies.
And now we move on to this other news segment. Viewers, air traffic controllers in Cameroon and the rest of the African continent continue pressing for solutions to their plight. We are expecting to have the images on our screens after suspending their strike action. They are hoping that the air transport authorities will take necessary measures and actions to improve on their working conditions ahead of the meeting of the Committee of Ministers of the Agency for the Air Navigation Safety in Africa and Madagascar, ASECNAM. Some of air traffic controllers in Cameroon were speaking to the press today in Douala. They highlighted physical, professional and linguistic challenges of the profession or the discharge of their duties of ensuring the security and safety of air traffic. They were speaking within the context of the International Air Traffic Controllers Day observed on October 20 this year. And now let's listen to Michael Nwagni. He's the president of the Cameroon Air Traffic Controllers Association.
I think that the Minister Committee will look deeply in order to solve the problem of strike that is going on, because the strike is not still stopped, it's not cancelled, but the strike is undergoing. That we hope that this Minister Committee is going to give all the answer that we are waiting in order to bring peace and calm in the Africa sky. I would say it will be very early to talk about the consequence here, but I think that we are working on it. And after, let us say, if you meet us after the Minister Committee, I think that we will give you some details that will help you. But anyway, we know that there is turbulence in the air. I think that we are in the community, and we have the same problem. That the problem that you have here, a conqueror in Gabon have the same problem. That the problem is not specific to Cameroonian conquerors. It's a global problem. About the plan of career that we are talking about is concerning all the 17 countries that ASECNA NSP manage.
And now we take you out of our national frontiers. Nigerians living in the northern part of that neighboring country continue counting their losses after floods swept away several localities, and the authorities in Nigeria have told the local population in the north to expect more floods. And over to the Gambia, where some kids have died or have suffered severe kidney failure after consuming cough syrup imported from India. We have our foreign page roundup with Immaculate Fako.
The Nigerian Meteorological Agency cautions Nigerians living in the northern part of the country to prepare for more floods. Since last month, about 27 Nigerian states have experienced floods. Over 500,000 people have been displaced, and more are still losing valuable property. Nigerian authorities say this year's flooding was caused by overflowing rivers, rainfalls. Meantime, social media has been flooded with criticism of the Gambian healthcare system. This comes after 69 Gambian children are currently suffering with acute kidney failure since July in a series of cases linked to 4 Indian-made cough syrups. President Adama Barrow made a nationwide address on Saturday after the police launched an inquiry and health authorities were told to suspend the import license of the company. He has promised to update drug-related laws and praised the work of the health ministry in preventing further deaths. However, the population continues to be devastated over what is happening. And in Mali, Colonel Assimi Goïta has received a draft of the new constitution, which is a key part of the military's bid to retain power. The military has placed under pressure to hold elections in February 2024 and to hand over power in March of the same year.
And that report out of the country by Immaculate Fogwe, viewers, brings us to the end of this edition of the news. Thank you always for being faithful, and don't go away. Our programs continue as usual. Search Channel 2 will be with you at exactly 7 p.m. for your favorite program, Equinoxe Soir. I will be with you again tomorrow, same time. Bye-bye for now, and stay with us on Equinoxe Television.